Hello and welcome to another video with the Bearded Tech Guy. In this Getting to Know webCoRE video, we will be taking a look at how to install and set up webCoRE on the Hubitat Smart Hub, going over how to create a simple piston to get started with, going over any major differences or design considerations you may have in comparison to running webCoRE on a Samsung SmartThings hub, as well as go through how to migrate any pistons you might already have if you are moving over from SmartThings. Also note I will have a link in the description below for a list of all important links that may be referenced in this video, along with any other helpful information. To get started, we will first need to install the application code onto the Hubitat Hub. You can do this through the Hubitat Package Manager, but for this video, I will be going over how to do it manually. For webCoRE, there are two required apps that must be installed, which are webCoRE itself as well as the webCoRE Piston app. There's also two additional apps you may have to install depending on if you need their functionality. The first optional app is webCoRE Storage. This app is needed if you plan on using the weather functionality. The second optional app is webCoRE Fuel Stream, which is only needed if you plan on using fuel streams. If you do not install the two optional apps now, you can always go back later and install them if you end up needing them. To install the application code, click on Apps Code under Advanced on the Hubitat menu. On the new screen that opens up, click on New App. You now have two options. You can either paste all of the code into the text editor here, or you can import the code from a raw GitHub page. For this video, we will be importing the code by clicking on Import. On the pop-up, you will paste the URL for the code in. Again, I'll have a link in the description below to several helpful resources, including the GitHub URLs to use, and we will be doing the primary webCoRE app first. Clicking on Import will bring up a verification pop-up asking if you are okay to overwrite any code in the current text editor. Click on OK to have the code imported into the editor. Next, click on Save at the top right-hand corner. This step is important, as without doing it will not save the app code. Saving can take several moments depending on the size of the code being saved. You will know it's completed when the name of the app is updated on the screen. There is one last step that needs to be completed that is special to this app, and that is enabling OAuth. To enable OAuth, click on the OAuth button, and then click on the Enable button on the pop-up screen. After, click on Update to generate your keys. We will now follow the same process for the webCoRE Piston app, by importing the code from the GitHub URL and then saving it. As a reminder, we do not have to enable OAuth for this app. If you plan to use fuel streams or the weather functionality, then don't forget to install the additional apps as needed. They are installed the same way as the first two and neither require OAuth to be enabled. With the code for webCoRE and webCoRE Piston apps installed, we can move on to the next step. With all of our app codes saved on the hub, we will actually install an instance of the webCoRE app. To do this, click on the hamburger menu on the left-hand side of the screen and click on Apps. On the new screen, click on Add User App. And on the pop-up, click on webCoRE. Click on Next to advance to the next screen. Here you are able to change the name of your webCoRE instance if you would like. Scroll to the bottom of the Terms and Services Agreement and set your dashboard password. This will be needed when logging into the webCoRE dashboard to make changes. You are also able to set how often you would like your password to have to be re-entered on a registered dashboard. Once your password is typed in, click on Next. On the new screen, you will select which devices webCoRE can interact with. You should only add devices that you plan to use as part of webCoRE automations to save on resources on your hub. You're able to come back at a later time and add more devices so you don't necessarily have to add everything right now. Devices that can be added are broken out into different sections based on what type of device they are. And there is also just a devices section you can select from. You can select whichever devices you want to add into webCoRE and then click on Update for that section. Scrolling to the bottom shows all of the different device categories possible and also gets us to the next button, which will need to be pushed once all of our devices are selected. Again, you are always able to come back and add more devices into webCoRE. After clicking on Next, you should see a success page indicating that the initial setup of webCoRE was successful. Click on Done to be brought back to the main apps page. Let's now click on the webCoRE app to open the configuration page for it. Here you will see what version you have installed, be able to open the dashboard for setting up pistons, register a new browser such as on a mobile device, and make changes to settings including adding or removing devices webCoRE has access to. Let's now go through creating a simple piston. First, click on a dashboard to open the dashboard for webCoRE. It will open in a new window. You will be prompted to enter the password you entered during initial setup. This will bring you to the webCoRE dashboard. If you'd like to go through a deep dive of the webCoRE dashboard, I will include a link in the description below for my dashboard deep dive video. Let's now create a simple piston. To create a piston, click on New Piston. On the screen that opens, click on Create a Blank Piston. From here, you will put your name and give your piston a name. I highly recommend giving your pistons a meaningful name so you can easily determine what your piston does. This will become very helpful once you have a large number of pistons. With your information entered, click on Create. For this simple piston, we will have a light turn on when a contact sensor opens, and that same light will turn off when the contact sensor closes. Let's first create an if block for when the contact sensor opens by clicking on Add a New Statement under Execute. On the window that opens up, click on Add an If. Next, click on Add a Condition. Next, select the contact sensor from the drop-down list. Mine is just called a contact sensor. Next, select the attribute for the device. For this piston, we will select Contact. After, select the trigger Changes to under What Kind of Comparison. Make sure you select Changes to under Triggers and not Changed under Conditions, as we need triggers for this piston to work. Next, change the value under Compare to from Closed to Open. And then click on Add. After, click on Add a New Statement under Then, and then click on Add an Action on the new screen that opens. Next, select the device you want to interact with from the dropdown. For this piston, I will be selecting a smart bulb called a RGB light. With the device selected, click on Add a Task. Next will be to select the action you want to take on the selected device. For this if block, we will be selecting Turn On, and then finally click on Add to finish this if block. Let's take a look at our first block before moving on to the second one. The first line shows what will cause the if block to be true. In this case, it will become true if the contact sensor opens. The next section shows what happens if the if block is true. In this case, a light bulb will turn on. You are able to add multiple conditions for an if block, as well as have multiple events occur, but for this piston, we are going to keep things simple. If you'd like to see more complex piston examples, I recommend checking out my entire Getting to Know webCoRE series, where I not only go over the different aspects of webCoRE, but also cover how to accomplish different tasks within pistons. Let's now finish up this piston by adding a second if statement. We will do this by clicking on Add a New Statement under our previous if statement. Make sure to be careful here, as you want to select the one that is under End If. We will then go through the same steps we just took for our previous if block, but this time, instead of having our trigger set for when the contact sensor changes to open, we will leave it as closed. We will also have our light bulb turn off instead of on. Let's now save our piston by clicking on the Save button at the top right hand of the screen. Doing so brings you to a piston view page where you are able to see your piston configuration and logs for that piston if they are enabled. Take note that anytime a trigger is configured in a piston, you should see a lightning bolt next to it. If your piston does not have these lightning bolts, that means you may have set up your piston wrong. With our piston set up and saved, let's test it out. Great, the piston we set up is working as expected. Let's now go over some of the differences you may encounter if you are moving over to Hubitat from SmartThings and are already familiar with webCoRE. First and foremost is the fact that when running webCoRE on a Hubitat hub, your webCoRE instance is running directly on your Hubitat hardware. This is different when running webCoRE on SmartThings, where a large portion of it is run on the SmartThings cloud. Because of this, you will want to make sure you are mindful of what exactly you are doing with webCoRE and how that may impact your performance. For example, unless you plan on using every single one of your devices, I highly recommend you only add the devices you are using at that time within webCoRE. While the lone act of adding all your devices into webCoRE will not likely cause any issues, having every single device notification processed by webCoRE could add into a larger issue if unchecked. Another thing to keep in mind is logging. You should only have it enabled when troubleshooting a problem and have it disabled when you are not using it to help save on resources on your hub. Also, because of webCoRE running on Hubitat directly, you'll want to keep in mind if you may have a large number of pistons running at or around the same time. For example, if you have multiple pistons that trigger around the same time at say midnight, then multiple threads will be consumed on the hub as the pistons are executed. Instead, it would be better to have a single trigger piston that then calls the other nightly pistons as needed to help preserve resources. There are a few other design considerations to keep in mind when working with pistons on the Hubitat platform, so I strongly encourage you to read through all the posted notes for webCoRE on Hubitat. While running webCoRE on Hubitat might seem like a bad idea when hearing of all these considerations because of resource constraints, overall webCoRE on Hubitat seems very stable, and because everything runs locally on Hubitat, you will most likely see your pistons execute more quickly and more reliably because of being run locally. Also, because everything is self-hosted, if you lose internet or AWS goes down again, your automations won't stop working. If you are moving over to Hubitat from SmartThings, and already have a large number of pistons created on your SmartThing hub, then making the switch might seem pretty daunting. Luckily, you are able to import your pistons via the backup code. To do this, you'll first need to back up your pistons on your SmartThing webCoRE instance by going to the piston view of a piston and clicking on the green snapshot icon to generate a code. You are not able to use a scratch-off code as that code is bound to your specific hub using specific device IDs. Once you have your green snapshot code, navigate back to your SmartThings instance on Hubitat. Then click on New Piston. On the screen that opens up, click on Restore Piston using a backup code. Name your piston and then enter the backup code we previously generated. Once entered, click on Create. You will then be prompted to select the devices you want to be assigned for any devices that were referenced in the previous piston. Once all of these devices are populated, click on Continue. Doing so will bring us to the piston editor where you can make any changes you want. Once you are done, make sure to click on Save. We have successfully imported a backup code of a piston from a SmartThings webCoRE instance and imported it on a Hubitat webCoRE instance. If you do have a large number of pistons to migrate, I would suggest going through and creating all of the backup codes first, and then moving over to your Hubitat instance to import them. You can easily save all the codes in Notepad. Just make sure to save the file often so nothing happens to it. I would love to know if you are just getting started with building out your smart home, or if you happen to be migrating off of SmartThings and why. So let me know in the comments below, and if you run into any issues, don't hesitate to ask. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up as it helps out the channel immensely. And if you aren't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and enable notifications to be one of the first to know when I release a new video. Thank you for watching.